Hello and welcome to Developer Perspective. Ever wonder why there are so many programming languages, so many platforms, and so many things to learn as a developer? That's basically because a successful application is the one that works anywhere and everywhere. But when we speak about anywhere and everywhere, that means it should work on all operating systems, all browsers, and all the devices that includes handheld or stationed ones. And there is hardly any language or architecture that can serve this purpose. But as the years are passing, JavaScript has evolved to have promising capabilities in achieving the dreams of one programming language for all. So today we will be speaking about progressive web application development in Angular. Hi, this is Jitesh from Developer Perspective, where we help you get the latest trends, technologies and tools in the software development ecosystem. If you are new here, make sure you click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to support our channel. So let's now jump into it. So first, let's understand the problems which the progressive web application is targeting to solve. Basically, when it comes to application, then they are broadly classified as web applications and native applications. Web apps are the applications that run on browsers and native applications are the applications that run on your devices. The most important distinguishing feature between these apps is that web application needs internet to work, whereas native application can run offline. There are other features as well which a native application can provide, that is access to device hardware functionalities like cameras and stuff, and it is comparatively faster than a web application as there is a very little latency in accessing resources. Then we also have hybrid apps which are a mixture of web application and native application for mobile devices. Yet this does not create deployable build for computer native use, and you still need to create different builds for different operating systems like APK for Android, IPA for iOS and so on. So that's when progressive web application holds stand. Progressive web application or PWA is a software that supports a single code base to be deployed at multiple devices without you having to build different deployable. That said, you create your application code once, deploy it to the web, and that's it. You can now access the application on a browser, or you can even have it installed as a native application. To summarize the features which a PWA can provide are as follows. Those include uniform application behavior, easily installable, and you have a single code base. So we will try to build a simple application which is a fair replica of Pokédex, and we will try to deploy this application on the web and access it on computer devices and mobile devices as a web and a native application. This video will be a complete guide on making a PWA application with Angular, which passes all lighthouse tests. Hence, it's a bit long video. I will be sharing some tricks and information about the actual use of some of the features related to PWA, which you must know to understand how PWA works. So do watch the video till the end. By the end of the video, you will be having everything you need to know to set up a PWA application from scratch. So let's start with creating an Angular project from scratch. So for that you need the Angular CLI to be installed to your computer. So for that you need to use an npm install command. So we'll just go with the npm install Angular CLI. You then need to go to the command prompt and you need to just type npm install @angular -CLI. So this will install Angular CLI on your system. So once this is done, you can use the ng command to create a new application. So that would be ng followed by new and the name of the project you want to create. So this application would be a fair version of Pokédex. So we'll name this as Pokédex and then enter. This will ask you if you like to add Angular routing, so you just say yes. The second thing it will ask is what is the styling format you want to use. So I'll be using SCSS for this application, and that's it. It will start creating all the files necessary for your application and it will start building the node module for you. Once this is done, you just go to the application folder. So that would be for me Pokédex, and then just open this application on Visual Studio Code. So just go with code dot. So this is the application which has been created. So this will create your src. This has e2e files, and you have all the node modules as well installed here, and you have some configuration files like angular.json and package.json, and this has all the dependencies and stuff. So this is the basics of how an angular application looks like. So if you open src, you have the app, which is the root module of your application. You have the ts, you have html, you have the css. Each angular component will basically have three modules to it. So first is the ts file, the second is the css file, and the third is the html file. Now let's try to run this application. Okay, so just go to the terminal and you can just execute ng-serve. So once the application has been started, you can just go to the browser and hit localhost 4200. So I'm typing for localhost 4200, and that's it. You have your application running. So this is just the landing page which has been created by default when you create a new application of Angular. So now let's check out if this application which has been created out of the box has some PWA features or not. So for that we need to build our application first, because this is just a development environment which is running. So we need to actually have the index.html created and need to run this application on a proper web server. So for that we will be first building the application. So how do you build an application with Angular? So first of all, I'll just close this terminal here, and then you need to type ng build -prod. So I'll just create a prod build of the application which has been created now. So once your build has been completed, you will find a new folder created with the name of dist. Okay, so this will have all your codes. This will have the index.html created along with some other files. If I want to just host this application somewhere so that I can access this application, I can use something called as HTTP server. So this is the HTTP server. So this is an npm package which you can install on your computer, and you can have a web server hosted on a specific port. By default it would be 8080. So we'll just have this installed on our system and try to access the application on HTTP port. So for that you need to install the HTTP server by doing an npm install on a global level. So I'll just copy this command and I'll go to the terminal and just put in npm install global HTTP server. So I'll just install this HTTP server for now. So our HTTP server has been installed. So now let's try to run this application on the HTTP server. So what you need to do is http-server followed by -c-1. Okay, so this will disable any type of caching which is enabled on HTTP server. We don't need caching as that will be handled by the PWA. So that's the reason we'll just ignore caching on this HTTP server, and then followed by the folder on which we have the index.html. So I have my index.html on dixt followed by pokedex. So I'll just enter this now. Cool, awesome. So once I do that, my application can be accessible on 8080 port. Okay, so I'll just go back to my browser and I'll now type in localhost 8080. Okay, awesome. So my application is now running on 8080, and this is the final build which normally goes for deployment, and it's a normal index.html and CSS and JavaScript. Okay, so now let's try if this is PWA compliant. Okay, so I'll just go to inspect elements. So I'm on Chrome browser, and here if you see there is console network and lighthouse. Just go to lighthouse. Okay, and there you will find generate report section. So here you can specify what are the different categories you want to run the test on. So we can have performance, we can have progressive web application tests, that's what we want to do, and there are best practices, SEO, accessibility and other stuffs. Okay, and this can also specify the device which you want to test. It can be a mobile or a desktop, so I can just select mobile for now. So we want to test the progressive web application. Is it progressive web app compliant? Okay, so I'll just have selected progressive web app, and now let's generate report for this application. So this will do all round of testings which are required for making an application a PWA compliant application. Okay, awesome. So your application testing has been completed, and if you can see, there are three factors on which this PWA test happens. That is on fast and reliability, which has three different points, and out of that we did not pass any of them, so it's 0 out of 3. Installable, it is 1 out of 3. PWA optimized, it is 2 out of 8. Okay, and if you can see what are the different places where your application has failed to compliant is page load is not fast enough on mobile network. Okay, and there are some other stuffs as well. You can just go ahead and check out all the different categories in which this has failed. Also, let's try to see how this application behaves when the network goes offline. So I'll just make this offline and then try to refresh. So we have the classic no internet message here. So to make your application PWA compliant, you need to pass all of these different categories of test which happens on an application to be able to call your application a PWA application. The next step we plan to do is to create this application as a PWA compliant application. Okay, so how do you do that? So to make an Angular application PWA compliant, you can use a module called as Angular/PWA. So this is an npm module which you can go ahead and install in your application, and your application would be PWA compliant. So go back to your code. So now we'll add the PWA. So for that you need to do ng add followed by @Angular -PWA. So then you need to also specify the name of the project. So first you need to do hyphen project followed by the name of the project, which is Pokédex for us, and just do an enter. Here it will ask if you want to send out user data to Google, so that you can enable if you want to do. And I'll just go with yes for now. And you can always turn off the analytics whenever you want to do that by using an ng analytics project off. So now this started to create some new files in your application, and it's installing some dependencies for your application. Awesome. So there are some new files created in your application. Now as you can see, there are a lot of files and there are a lot of configuration which has been added. So now let's see what are the different PWA problems these files solve. Okay, so we'll just go one by one on the different features which has been added to your application by the PWA library, and what problem does it solve specifically to the PWA Lighthouse issues which has been specified. Here in the Lighthouse console, if you see, there are problems related to page load is not fast enough on mobile network. Okay, so that is one problem which has been shown here. There's the second problem. It says it's you do not have a start_URL. Okay, the third is also related to start_URL, and then this says that there is no manifest file which is needed for the installability requirements. That is what we need to fix. The other thing is you need to redirect from HTTP traffic to HTTPS. That we need to do it later on. The reason behind that is this all system works on the basis of something called a service worker. So service worker, it works on the caching of your website. It works on caching all the different aspects of your application onto the browser's caching mechanism, and it works even without your internet being on. Okay, so that's the reason HTTPS is very important, because it holds some data onto it. Okay, so that's the reason you need to have your application running on HTTPS for the service worker to run. Then it says it does not have custom splash screen that comes from the manifest. This is also because manifest is not present here, and there is this manifest theme, a tag which has to be added to your application index.html, and this does not have fallback content when a JavaScript is not supported on your browser. So that is one of the problem it is specifying. And there is no Apple Touch icon present in your application, and then there is no maskable icon present in your manifest. Okay, so these are the different problems which has been noted down by the Lighthouse. Okay, so now let's see what are the different features added to the application via the PWA library. So here if you see, there is two important files which has been added, that is ng-sw-config.json, that is nothing but Angular service worker. Okay, so we'll just open that service worker and see what are the different configuration added. Okay, so the first of all, it is specifying a schema that is specific to a service worker, and that is added. And then it has specified what is the index of your application. It would be an index.html. Then there is asset group. Okay, so this asset group is nothing but the instructions required for the service worker to cache some of your files. Okay, so there are two asset groups present here, one with the name as app and the other with the name as asset. Okay, so in app, if you see, there are two configuration to this asset group. One is install mode and other is the update mode. So the install mode specifies what type of installation mode should be executed when your application is loaded in your browser for the first time, or if you are installing that application on a native device. Okay, so there are two different modes to it. So one is prefetch and other is lazy. Okay, so all these resources, and then there is resources. Okay, so all these resources are nothing but files which is present in your dixt folder. This everything will be cached right away when you open your application for the first time. Okay, and then there is this assets. So if you see the install mode here, this type of lazy. Okay, so that means this will not be loaded as soon as you open your application. Okay, whereas if you see the update mode, it is prefetch. Okay, so what happens is whenever you access any of these resources, it can be a asset or it can be any type of image, will be cached only when this resources has been accessed by your application. So for example, first screen of your application does not require a specific file to be loaded, so then that will be not cached. But in the next page or in the next specific component, when you click a specific component loads, at that time if these files have been accessed, then it will be cached because of this update mode prefix. This is all about the ng service worker configuration. Okay, so this specifies the caching mechanism. So the caching stuff has been handled here, so that's the reason that your application speed would be increased here. So the second file we will check is the manifest.web manifest. So if you see here, it has the name of your application, it has the short name of your application, it has this theme color. So if you see, there was this theme color error which we was getting, right? Here this solves that issue. We need to specify the display. It is a standalone display, the scope and the start URL. Okay, so if you see, there was a problem with the start URL as well. It was asking for the start URL which is not present, so we are specifying that in this manifest. So that is nothing but the root folder of the application. And then there are icons present here. So if you see, there are different icons present here, and you will see different sizes of icons, so ranging from 72 into 72 till the 512 to 512. Okay, so these are the different images which has been created. And if you see, the purpose of this image are all maskable any. Okay, so there was one more issue specific to the maskable. Okay, so this has been solved by this manifest.web manifest. So this is the changes which has been added. And then if you see the angular.json, there is a configuration added to enable service worker. So by default, service worker is not enabled for your application, so you need to enable it by adding a configuration called as service worker. And then if you see, there is this ng-sw config path which has been added, and that is specifying nothing but the ng-sw config.json which has been created now by the PWA library. And then if you see in the asset, there is an addition of manifest and stuff, and some analytics and default project name. And then we need to check is nothing but index.html. Okay, so if you see index.html, there is 3 different changes added. So the first is the linking of your manifest. So this was one of the issues specified by the Lighthouse when we are testing the PWA. Also, there should be a metadata present with a default theme color. Okay, so this has been also added by the PWA library. And then there is this no script tag added with a text saying that please enable JavaScript. So this was specific to a browser which does not support JavaScript. We need to add this text, right? So this was also added by the Angular PWA library. And here you can see that there are icons added to your application. So these icons range from 72 by 72 till the 512 by 512 proportion. And in the app.module.ts, if you see, there is an import happening here for the service worker module, and which register the ng sw worker.js, and with the environment setting as production. Okay, so these are the different changes which has been added to your application so that it becomes PWA compliant. So what we will do now is we'll just try to build this application again and run the Chrome's Lighthouse feature. Okay, so to do that, we need to again do an ng build and then start the HTTP server. Throughout this session, we'd have to do that a lot of times. So what I'll do is I'll just add a new script so that it happens directly through a single script. So I'll just add in PWA, and the thing we need to execute first is ng build --prod followed by HTTP -server -c -1, that is no caching, followed by the folder name. So our folder name is dix/pokedex. Okay, so this is the command which I have added. So this will directly build and run your application directly via a single command called as PWA. Okay, so now let's go to the terminal again and try to run this application and see how this performs now. So now let's go to the terminal and I'll execute this script by using npm run pwa. Okay, so now this will build as well as start the HTTP server and host our application there. Okay, so our application is up now. So now let's get back to the browser and generate the Lighthouse reports. So I'll just click on generate report. Okay, awesome. Now if you see the matrix of performance, then you will see that the fast and reliable has got 3 out of 3, installable is 3 out of 3, and PWA optimized is 6 out of 8. Okay, so now we'll just clear that 6 out of 8 problem as well. So we'll just first go for just see. So if you see the page load is much faster now on network. You have the start URL which we just saw that it is there, and it allows the offline service. Okay, so we'll just check on what is offline and stuff, and how do you have an offline configuration in your application. That we'll see out in the coming sections. We have the use of HTTP, we have the service worker configured for control page and the start URL. We have added the manifest that has all the installability requirement. We don't have the redirection HTTP traffic to HTTPS, so that we will be doing at the near end of the video. And then there is this problem which we are facing that says that it doesn't have the Apple Touch icon in your configuration. Okay, so that we'll add it right away. So for that you need to go to the index.html. Here you need to add a tag of link that relate to Apple Touch icon, followed by the file which you want to show them as an icon. So I'll be using the asset png. Icon, I can use any of this, so I'll just go with the lowest one, so that would be better. And that's it. So this is the line which I have added. So now let's again run and see if that issues goes away. So I'll just stop this and again do npm run pwa. So the application is running now. So let's go to the browser and run the Lighthouse test again. So now let me just clear this out and generate a new report. Awesome, so that one issue is been solved. So we have PWA optimized of 7. Okay, so Here just the HTTPS is what we need to achieve. Okay, so before that, so we have to host this application somewhere so that you'll be able to access that application. So before doing that, let's try to see the offline mode. So how the offline mode works in a real life application. So we'll build an application which will get you random Pokemon details whenever you click on a specific button. Okay, so that's what the application will try to create, and we'll try to show some specific message to the application whenever your application goes offline or there is no network connection to your application. That is what we'll plan to achieve in this in the next section of the video. Okay, now let's see how the offline mode works for this application now after the PWA has been applied. So now if I go to the network tab and if I just enable this as offline, so that means there is no internet connections to the application, but still if you refresh this application you will be able to get this page. The reason being, if you see closely to this files which has been called whenever you refresh, this all are coming from service worker. Okay, if you see, this is from service worker, this is from service worker. Okay, the reason being these are all cached into the service worker cache. Now let's see what are the available cache for this application. Okay, so if you go to this application, so first of all you will see there is this manifest. So now this manifest is pointing to manifest.web manifest. Okay, so this is the manifest which has been used, and there are different properties which we have already specified, and that's what you can see into the Chrome browser as well. The start URL, the theme color, the background color and stuff. So these are needed when you execute this application in your mobile browser. And then you have the service worker registration here as well. So if you see, there is this ng-sw worker.js which has been registered, and in the cache section if you see, these are the files which are getting cached. Okay, so this includes index.html, manifest, web manifest, and all the other files, favicon.ico. These are all the different files which are getting cached. And if you see in the ng-sw config, we have already specified that this has to be cached, and that file has been cached. So this is how the caching works. Okay. So there are two important aspects to the PWA which we can try out in this application. So the first is the offline mode. So as of now, if you see, you are just loading the entire application right away. We do not understand whether it's an online application or offline application. And the second feature we will try out is the update. So whenever an update happens to your application, what happens is this is all served by your service worker. Okay, so service worker has its own cache and we are just getting that from the cache. But for example, if we do any changes to the backend and we try to refresh, it doesn't apply right away. We can add a feature onto the application to check if there is an update in the code base, and that will automatically apply the update. Okay, so these are the two things which we will be applying to this application while trying to create a Pokédex application. So to start with the Pokédex application which randomly gets Pokemons for you, you can just start with creating components. Okay, so first of all, I will just go to app component.html and remove all the files which I don't require here. So I'll just remove all of them. Okay, and then I'll create two components for this application. So I'll just create a component by using the ng-generate command, followed by the name of the component. So I'll just name it as Pokédex. Awesome. So we have the component created with the name as Pokédex, and we'll also create one more component with the name as offline. So this will be shown whenever your application goes offline. Okay, so I'll just add this component. So this will create the component.html, TS and CSS, everything. Okay, so we have the offline component and the Pokédex component. So now let's try to add the offline online feature which we are planning to add. So for that you need to go to the app component.ts. Now in the app component.ts, let me create a variable named offline, and this would be a boolean type, and by default it would be true. Then we'll create a function called as on network status change. So this function will be called whenever there is a change in the network. So within the function we will assign a value to offline variable, and that will be nothing but the navigator dot online. Okay, so the navigator.online will help you understand whether your application is connected to an internet or not. Okay, so whenever this will be called, we will just check if the online status is present. If it is true, then it will be converted to negation of the true, that is false. So the offline will be true. Okay, and this has to be registered to a event. Okay, so that is an online and an offline event. Okay, so we'll just add those event listener as well. So to add that event listener, first let's implement on init interface that helps you get a function of ng on init. Okay, and here within this function we will register the events. Okay, so we will write windows dot add event listener, and whenever the event listener says online, we will just update the status by calling this on network state change event. I'll just close the tab, and here whenever this add event happens and there is an event trigger of online, we will just call this network on network status change function, and we need to bind that to the current instance. And the same we have to do whenever the application goes offline. So we'll just call this function whenever our application goes offline as well. Okay, so that's it. Now whenever the application goes online or application goes offline, the status will be updated. The variable offline will be set as true or false on the basis of whatever the status is for that application. So by default what we will do is even if there is no status change, so at the time of the application is loaded, okay, we will still call this function once. So we'll add this on network status change at the start of the function as well, so that whenever the application loads, we get the current status of the network. So now we have this variable offline with us. So now let's go to the HTML code of this application. So now in this app.component.html we will be planning to add two components. So let's find the selector for this Pokemon component. So you need to go to the TS file of this component and copy this app.pokedex. So this is the name of the component. Okay, we'll just add this, and we will also add the offline. So I believe the offline would be app-offline. Okay, so these are the two components which will be registered whenever this application loads. Okay, so we'll just close this off now. Now what we will do is we will just add an ng if condition which will check the offline status. So if it is not offline, then we will show the Pokédex, and if the application is offline, then we will show the offline component. So we added this. Now let's see what can we expect when the application goes online and when the application goes offline. Okay, so for the Pokédex in the HTML file we have Pokédex works, and in the offline file we have offline works. Okay, so instead of offline works we will just say you are offline. So we'll just say this. So now let's try to run this application and see how the offline mode works here. So for this we'll do npm run pwa. This online offline functionality works when you are build the application and deploy it onto an HTTP server, and doing an ng serve will not help, because at that point the service worker doesn't execute on ng serve. Okay, so instead of that we have to execute this application on a HTTP server. Okay, so that's the reason I am doing npm run pwa. So now I am on the browser, and if you see I'll just make it online now and try to refresh. Okay, the problem is here refresh is still using the cache to load the index.html, so that's the reason you are still getting the same page. Okay, we'll try to refresh again, and yeah, this worked. So the reason now you are seeing Pokédex work because the application is online now. Let's try to simulate an offline by doing an offline here. And now if you see, it automatically goes to or you are offline. Okay, that is because we have an event listener attached to it, so which checks if your application is online or offline, automatically redirects you to a specific component. So now if I do online, cool, so you have Pokédex work. So this is how you'll be able to work on an online and offline environment using the PWA feature. And this was possible because your index.html is cached. Okay, so that's the reason your component is loading and everything is working as usual, and that's the reason your Angular is able to determine what is the event happening and all these different things it can execute, because all of this has been cached. So now let's try to understand how this caching works. When I just came to this site, it did not load properly. It was still loading the older version of this application. So how do you determine whether there is a new upgrade to your application or whether there is a new change to your application? So to do that, we can add some features in the application which will automatically help user understand that there is an update to your application. So to start with, these changes related to the upgrade process, where we can understand there is an update to your application, we can use some components from Material UI. So I'll be installing the Material UI to my application. So that you can do by just putting in a command called as ng add angular -material. So this asks for the theme which I would prefer to use, so I'll just go with the purple green theme. If it wants to set up a global Angular material typography style, so I'll just go with yes. Browser animation, yes, you can go with that. It will start the installation. So once the installation, Material UI installation has been completed, I'll just go ahead and create one injectable service with the name as update service.ts. So this is the service which I'll be creating, and here let me just create an injectable service. So in this class we'll import a package called as SW update. So that is from the Angular service worker. Okay, so this will check if there is an update in the application code, and then it will inform, and then we'll have functions related to the activation and update execution. Sorry, so this is an SW update. Okay, and then we'll create a constructor here, and inside the constructor we'll just define the SW update variable. Okay, so what we need to do is we'll just name this as SW update just for better understanding, and we'll first of all check if the SW update is enabled. Okay, if it is enabled, then well and good. If it is not enabled, then we'll have a console log which says service worker is not enabled. Okay, so this is just a message we have here, and then we will check for an update if any. So what we will plan to do is, if there is any update, we will notify the user that there is an update by a snack bar. Okay, a snack bar is a small pop-up which comes at the bottom of the screen, and that will help user understand that there is an update and they need to refresh the application so that the update get executed. So that's what we'll be doing now. For that to happen, we'll just create a function called as prompt user. And the return type of this function would be a void, and within the function we need to specify the snack bar. Okay, so to install snack bar, you need to go to application module.ts, and here you will need to import the snack bar module. So snack bar module, and need to import that module here. Okay, awesome. And let me get back to the update service, and here we will specify the snack bar, that is smart snack bar. And let's specify a snack bar here. Snack bar dot open, followed by the message we want to show the user, so that would be an update is available. And we will have an action to reload, and we'll keep the duration of this snack bar to be like 10 seconds. So this, okay, so that's it. The snack bar has been created for us. I'll just make it a single quote so that this error goes off. Basically, it's better to have the ES linked up to the mark, so always keep that up to the mark. So now I will just add an action for the snack bar. So we'll just have an action attached to it. So whenever an action happens here, we will just subscribe to an event wherein we will just say that this dot sw update dot activate update. Okay, so this will activate the service worker update, and as this is a promise, we need to accommodate this with a then. Okay, so we'll just say if. So whenever a person clicks on this refresh button, we will instruct the service worker to activate the update. We will reload this page by using window.location.reload. That's when you prompt a user. So this is the function will be called whenever an update is available, and this will ask you to reload the page, and this will execute the activate update for the service worker and just reload the page. Okay, so now let's add the functions which will check for the update. So I'll create a function called as public check update, which will return void. And here what we will do is we'll again call this sw update variable, and this will check the availability. So here we will subscribe for the available updates, and whenever there is an update, we will just prompt the user to work around it. Okay, so this is what we will do whenever there is an update available. So this is the injectable which we have created for this application. Make this function as private. Okay, so that's it. I have a service injectable available with me. So now what I'll do is I'll again go back to the app component.ts, and we'll create a constructor for app component. Okay, so in the constructor I will define the update service. No, I have imported the update service, so you will find the update service here, and whenever this component is loaded, that is the app route, I will just check for the update. Okay, so that's it. So whenever your application loads, we will always have a check on this update, and okay, check for update. Just name, I will change the name. Okay, so what happens is whenever you load the component for the first time, it will always check for an update, and this will go and check for an update. Okay, and also we have subscribed to the SW update, so whenever there is an update, it will always be called. Now let's try to understand how the update works and how the application get to know that there is an update in the application code. So that's because of the file which gets created in the dix folder with the name as ng sw.json. Okay, so this is an expanded file of the ng-sw config. Okay, so this has all the different configuration details, prefetch and everything, but the important part about this is it has an hash table variable which has hash value to all of the files which has to be cached. So what happens is whenever you do a small change in any of your HTML or small change in any of your files, the hash table will get updated with a new hash code. Okay, so that's the reason the service worker will get to know that there was an update to your application, and that's the reason this file ng-sw.json is always polled in your application. So if you closely look into the application, there are many a time this JSON has been called just to check if there was an update with your application. Okay, so for now, just to rectify if this is how it works, we will just see the code for index.html, and if you see, it starts with C04 and it ends with FCF. Okay, so now let's try to change something in the index.html or something in the pokedex.component.html, and let's see if that updates the hash code. So I'll just stop the service now and I'll make some changes here. App has been updated. Okay, and I'll again start to run the application. So the application is built and it is running on HTTP server. Now let's quickly check if there is any change to the ng-sw.json, and if you see, yes, so the index.html has a different hash code which is different than what was before our changes. Okay, now let's go to the browser and see the changes there. So now I am onto the browser, so we'll just try to refresh. So we have this ng-sw.json not called yet. Yeah, now we have the called, and if you see, yes, so we got that update message here, right? So this is not updated, but we got the update message, that is an update is available. So you can just click on reload and it will show you the update. So this is how you can propagate your update to your application via just changes to your application and build it and deploy it, and it will automatically update your application. Okay, so now let's do something interesting. Let's try to add some functionalities and let's upgrade this application to look more like a Pokédex instead of just some text running around here and there. So for the Pokemon data, I will be referring this to GitHub projects. So this is the Pokemon Go app asset.images which will help me get the Pokemon images. Okay, so these are all the different images I have. I just forked it and I just converted those image with just an ID and removed the hex code which was available in between of the file name. I will be referring to this project for the data source. So this has this output.json which has this entire JSON of around 150 different Pokemons. So we'll be just using that as the data source for our application. So this has a lot of features which includes the name of the Pokemon, the different features or different type the Pokemon belongs to. It can be a grass or poison and all those stuff. Okay, so I'll be referring to this. So thanks for this contribution from the contributors of these two projects. It's a very good data source for integration, so thank you for your contribution. So I can see a lot of contribution here, as well as I see some contributions here as well. So thank you guys. So I'll just integrate this with our application so that we'll be able to get random Pokemons along with their images and few description about these Pokemons. So to make these changes, I'll just stop this and I'll do an ng serve, so that will help me get spontaneous changes and I can just check out all the changes I'm doing. So I just created a module called as app.material.module.ts. So this has all the imports which are required from the material UI, so that I don't have to do it again and again. So I have just created this app.material and I'll just import this into the app.module.ts. So I'll just add it here like this. So app module.ts and then followed by import, so that way I don't have to worry much about the material components and modules. I have everything under the hood. So now let's go and create some tags here. So I just added a toolbar in the container. Okay, so I'll just say this as random Pokemon app. So now let me create a small card here. So I have added some components and created some UI, so added some CSS as well, and created a very basic web page. So I'll just show you how that is. So this is the web page I have created. So there's a button. When you click on that button, you'll get your favorite Pokemon here with the image and some description about that Pokemon. Okay, so that's what we want to achieve, and that's what we'll be getting. Okay, so let's start with the integration of the API from the data source. So the first thing we need to do is we need to call the API to get all the raw data about the Pokemons. So I'll just add that API call here. I need to import HTTP client from Angular common HTTP, and I need to include this in my constructor. So I'll just call this as HTTP okay. So I have the HTTP with me. So now what will happen is whenever this application loads, I will call the get API against this URL, which is the raw data of the Pokemons, and we'll subscribe for these changes. And once I get any response, I will create a variable with the name as Pokemon list, which will be of type of object, and it's initialized with an array. Okay, so this will be my JSON. So whenever I get any data from the API, I will just set that response here. May need to splice this because I may get more data than what I have images for. So I'll just splice this with 0,150. Okay, I just want 150 records. Instead of object, I will just say as any, so that means it's an array. And yeah, so that's it. I have a list of around 150 Pokemons which I can use and get the random Pokemon. Okay, now let's have one more value called as random Pokemon. Now random Pokemon function, and be a random Pokemon, and this would be an object if I am not wrong, and this would be null. Okay, so random ID, I don't want that random ID, I just can go with the random Pokemon. That would be an entire object, and what I can do is I want a random number which I can use and get the data from. The lint always gives a problem. So let me get a random number. So to get a random number, I'll just define random number as maths dot floor followed by maths dot random into 150, and it should always be a positive number and not 0. And yeah, so this will get me a random number. So now what I can do is random Pokemon would be nothing but the index number of the Pokemon. So I can, okay, if it's an index, then I can just go with 0 as well. So I'll just go with this dot Pokemon of random number. Okay, so this will help me, okay, I'll just name it as Fox. So this will help me get a random Pokemon whenever I click on this. So I'll just associate this with the click event of the button. So click followed by the function name. So this function will be called whenever I execute click on this. And let me also change the data. So I'll be getting this random Pokemon. So in that JSON, I may have the random Pokemon's name and some descriptions. So may have this in double curly bracket. and let me check the JSON. So I have name and about. Okay, and now I need to change the URL of the image, so I can go with the URL as this, because this is the URL which will get me the image of the Pokemon. Now let me just add the number as well, so this will automatically get me the image of the Pokemon which has been selected, and this will be just the number. So what is happening here is each of these Pokemon, if you see, this is number and this is 0 1. Okay, so I'll just zoom it in. So each of these Pokemon description will have a number, so that is 001, and I have this image which this URL where I can just provide the number and I'll get the Pokemon's image. Okay, so I'll just change the number and I'll get the Pokemon images. Okay, so this is how I plan to get images for all the Pokemons which I'll get. Okay, so this is how I plan to execute this. And I'll also have one more condition here so that I do not get error. So if condition will be on the random Pokemon, if it is not null, only then this should be shown. Okay, so let's give it a try if this works or not. Okay, so we haven't included the HTTP client in the app module, so that's the reason it was failing. So let's add that module as well, HTTP client module. So awesome, we have the page with us. Now let's try to get a random Pokemon. And did we get it? No, I believe click event is not working. This is again, I missed the round brackets. Now awesome, so we have a Pokemon here. Awesome, so when I click again, I will get a new Pokemon. That's an awesome thing. But here the height is going an up and down pattern, right? So let's fix this height. So we'll name this image as Pokemon image. I will add a class here. We'll add some CSS to fix the height. Let's see if that works. Let's see how this looks. After some changes to the application, like adding some cards and adding buttons, and then applying the URL and all those things, I am finally the application which looks something like this. So this is the application which I have. So there's a button which when you click, you get a random Pokemon. Okay, so you click on a Pokemon and you will get this Pokemon which has the name, some details about that Pokemon and the type of Pokemon. It can be a poison. This Pokemon is a Golbat, and this is a poison and flying type of Pokemon. And when I click on this button again, I get a new Pokemon. So this is Paras. So this is how the functionality works. So whenever you click on the button, you will get always a new Pokemon and you can just read out, and you can have some details here. So now let's upgrade the offline version of this application as well. So here I'll just go to this offline.html and just replace this with some divs. So I'll just add, and I'll just name this container with a class. Inside this I will have an image with src and an h1 tag which will say you are offline, and I'll add some css as well here. So I'll just go here. Okay, so this is a basic css to get everything in the center, and I'll just add one more image here to the asset folder. See, we already have icons, so I'll just create a folder inside asset with the name of offline image. Okay, and I'll add an image here. Okay, so I have this image called as offline pokemon.png which says watch for Pokemons. Okay, so I'll just add that image here. Okay, cool. So I have added the asset, and this has offline hyphen image. Okay, I have one thing to show about this image asset. Probably this will not load when I go offline. Okay, so let's try to check it out and let's see why does that happen. Okay, I'll just and now I'll just try to run this with run pwa. Okay, so the application is up. So let's go to the URL and check that out. So this should be 8080 now. I'll just enter this. Okay, so the application is still at an older version. So let's add refresh again, and you have this button to refresh. You just click on that. Awesome. So we have the update here. Okay, so let's try to check this application. Yeah, it's working. You get your data properly. Okay, and the page is rendering properly. Now let's try to go offline and let's see what do we get. We don't have the image. Okay, now let's try to refresh again. We don't have the image. I can see the text, but I cannot see the image. Why did this happen? As we have already said that it has to be cached. So why does that happen? So the reason behind this, the image not loading, is because of this condition which we have specified here in ng-sw config. Okay, so if you see here, we are caching prefetch of your application is for index.html, favicon.icon, manifest.web manifest. Okay, and all the css and javascript. Okay, whereas the asset are at the time of install mode, it is all lazy. Whenever there is an update mode, then it is prefetch. So the offline image was never rendered at the time of when we access the application for the first time. So that's the reason that image was not cached. Okay, so that's the reason I was not able to access that image. So now if I want to cache that image, I just have to add one new file here, and that would be specific to the asset. Okay, and I want to cache not everything but anything that lies inside the offline image folder. Okay, so I'll just specify offline hyphen image, and anything inside that has to be cached. Okay, so all the images which I put inside this offline hyphen image should be cached. Okay, so this is what I want the application to do. So now what I'll do is I'll again stop this application and start it again. So now the application is up. So let's get back to the browser and let me make this as online first. Okay, and I'll just refresh and see if there is an update present. Okay, so there is an update present, so I'll just so that's the reason it's refreshed. Okay, now let me try to go offline. Awesome, so I have the image here. Size I need to work on. I'll just improve the size, but now the image is available. Okay, so I'll just shrink the size of this image. So after some tweaking, we have this offline page. So this is how it will look. So that's it. This is all what we have done now. The best part about PWA is not the offline mode. That is one of the best part about PWA. But the most important part about PWA is that it works everywhere. Okay, so the next section would be that we'll try this application to make it work everywhere. And before that, we need to make this a complete PWA by deploying this application onto an HTTPS server. Okay, so that's what we'll be doing next, followed by trying to access this application in all different type of operating systems, all different type of devices. Okay, so that's what we'll try it out. So there is one last thing which I need to do in this application, so that is to change the logo and the favicon images. So I have already updated the favicon image with a Pokeball. So the next thing I need to do is I need to add one more icon to this application. So I have it with me. I'll just copy paste it here. So here we go. So I have this Pokemon icon.png which I'll be using it as a logo of the application. Let me go ahead and update manifest.web. So here if you see, these are the different icons which has been used. So instead of this, I will just replace this with one icon which I have. Use this icon as Pokemon icon. Now let me change the name of the applications as well. So as of now it is Pokédex. So I'll just rename the application as random Pokédex app. Okay, so this was the final change I had to do with the application. So now I need to build this application and get it deployed onto a server which has HTTPS, so that I pass the last round of the testing for a PWA application. Now once I'm done with the build, I just need to copy this folder and deploy it to HTTPS server. So I'll just open this folder here, and this is the project which I need to deploy. So for that we'll be using Netlify. So basically Netlify allows you to install an application, and it automatically provides you an HTTPS enabled URL for your testing. So I'll just go with Netlify here. So I just need to drag and drop the folder where I have the index.html project, index.html. So I'll just drag and drop here, and this will take a few minutes to get it deployed, so we'll just wait for that time. Awesome. So we have the application URL with us. So this is the universal URL which I can use anywhere, and I can access my application from around the globe on all the different devices and everything. Okay, so this is the URL on which we will try all different PWA tests. We will try to execute and run this application on a mobile phone. We'll try to execute and run this as a native application on our desktop as well as on our mobile phones. So before we start with that, let's try to run the PWA test again, and let's see if it passes all the different requirements specified by the Lighthouse reports. So we'll just go for it now. So we'll just generate a report now on this deployed version of the application. Awesome. So if you see, we have passed all the tests, which includes fast and reliable, installable, and PWA optimized. Okay, so we have passed all the tests required to be a PWA compliant application. So congratulations. So now let's try to use this application as a native application. Instead of using on a browser, let's try to install it on your desktop. So for that, if you see at the browser, you have this button called as install random Pokédex app. Okay, so this is the name of my application. So you can actually go ahead and install this on your desktop. Okay, so I'll just click on this, and if you see, this is the application, and I'll just click on install. Okay, so here we have it. So this application is now running on my computer. Okay, so this is just like Chrome. This is a different application which is completely out of the browser, and I can use this application as such if I'm using a native application. Okay, so if you can just go here and I'll select all those things, and if I go to my desktop, I will find out this application getting installed here. Okay, so when I click on this, so this application is up, okay, and it's running. So this is the beauty of a PWA. We'll try out the offline feature as well. So I'll go ahead and turn off my Wi-Fi and let's see how it works. So here we have it. You are offline. So you can see that the application directly went into the offline mode. And let me get back to being online. And as soon as I come online, I'll be able to see the online app. So this is where I can get random Pokemons on my screen, and this is not on a browser, this is completely as an application, native application deployed on my desktop. So we'll try this same application on a mobile phone as well. So now let's try to access this application on a mobile phone. So here I have the application URL opened into my Chrome browser, and if you see, I am able to see this application. I'll just try to get a Pokemon. Yes, I have Staryu with me, and I can also change. Okay, Rendon with me. And if you see at the bottom of the screen, I see a button saying that add random Pokédex app to home screen. Okay, so I'll just click on this. Okay, so this will ask me to add this application to the home screen. I'll just click on add, and now if you see, this adding Pokédex app is going on. So once this is completed, I should be able to access this application on my mobile phone as a normal mobile application. Okay, so I see that this has been added to my home screen. So I'll just go to my home screen, and here I have it. So this application is running as a normal native application on my mobile phone. So I'll just try to open this application. I have this application open in my mobile phone. Okay, so that's the beauty about this application, and I can use this application as a normal application. If I can go ahead and use this application, and now let me try to go offline and let's see if this works. Yes, it works. It allows you to go offline as well, and you can see the screen that you are offline. I'll again go online, and as soon as I'm online and my internet connection is established, I got back to my application. So that's how this PWA works. So we made this application work on 4 different platforms. We tried to run this application on mobile browser. We installed this application as a native application on mobile. We tried to access this application on computer browser, and also we tried to access this application as a native application on computer. And this worked awesomely everywhere. I had to just host this application once on a server and distribute it everywhere with ease by just accessing the URL. Also, the behavior of the application stays the same throughout the different platforms, and you just have to write the code only once. So this is all about PWA with Angular. I personally found PWA to be the future in app development, and we can finally find our dreams becoming reality of having one programming language and deployable build of an application for all different platforms. There are other frameworks like React, Vue, which have cool integrations with PWA. So let me know in the comment section if you want me to create videos on those framework integrations as well. And also, if you liked my video, then please click the like button and don't forget to subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon so that I can serve you with more such videos. So thank you for watching.